Hello and welcome to the channel. How's everyone doing? Today I thought we'd update the Illuminor Szeras review that we did previously before the Necron Codex was released. So before we begin guys, I just wanted to ask for your help. So we have a Patreon service running, but I wanted to get some ideas from the community about what sort of perks you'd want from that sort of service. Some people just like to support the channel regardless, which is amazing. Some want a bit back, which is totally understandable. So if you could whack in the comments below any suggestions, that would be fantastic. So back to the video. So one of your name dudes from the HQ section of the book. I do have trouble pronouncing this guy's name, so you'll probably notice that I'll be avoiding using his name for the majority of the video. So let's get stuck into it then. So power level 8 or 160 points. That's for the majority of you that play points. He's a named character, so only one of this model can be included in your army. He's an infantry model with a character keyword. He's a dynastic agent, which means he does not gain any benefits from dynasty codes. This however won't mess up your list, so you can still select him for say a Novak dynasty list. It's just that this model alone won't gain any rules from it. Then finally he's a cryptech and a technomancer for the purpose of stratagems. So that's the keywords out the way. Getting into his data sheet. Movement 8 inch, weapon skill 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength 6, toughness 6, wounds 7, attacks 4, leadership 10 and a 3+ save. So monstrous stats there, moves pretty quick, and that strength 6, toughness 6 with 7 wounds is not far off being an actual monster rather than an infantry model. So let's hope his abilities and war gear live up to this tier. So he's got living metal, regaining a lost wound at the start of the turn, quite handy on a model with a lot of wounds. Then command protocols, which is your army wide buff each battle round, and as he's a character he's going to be within 6 inches of himself to benefit from the command protocols, providing that a noble unit is on the battlefield. Moving into his more unique abilities, he's got rites of reanimation, which is done in the command phase. So you select a Necron core unit within 6 inches of this model, and they basically get one model back. So no rolling for reanimation, you just auto reanimate. If you apply this to a warrior unit, then it's D3 warriors that get reanimated. So this is a solid ability because other core units such as Lich Guard, which have more than one wound, can come back. Death Marks are also core, so it works with them, and Immortals too. So this ability can actually be buffed even better with an ability called Illuminor, which allows you to use your rites of reanimation a second time that phase, as long as you don't select the same unit to use it on. So if you're flanked by 2 different warrior units, then you can reanimate D3 warriors for both units. So this can give you a max potential of being able to regain 6 warriors a turn from 2 different units. And that's a potential of 78 points worth per turn. That's really strong. Next it's got Empiric Overcharger, which is a 12-inch aura. It will make enemy psychers suffer perils of the warp on a double rather than just a double 1 or a double 6. Now as Necrons don't have much anti-psyker stuff going on except for the Zweikan Stratagem and the Spider's Gloom Prism, it makes this model pretty useful. His main ability here is called Mechanical Augmentation. So done at the end of the movement phase, you select a core unit within 6 inches and you roll a d3 and consult the table shown. Rolling a 1 will give your unit +1 to their strength, rolling a 2 will give that unit a +1 to their toughness, and rolling a 3 will provide them with a +1 to their ballistic skill. Each unit can only be augmented once per battle. All 3 are pretty useful. The toughness one is really strong on any unit, and if you're playing shooting then of course the ballistic skill is the one you'd want. Having warriors shoot on 2s is quite OP, although an overlord can just give you this with its My Will Be Done ability if you really wanted it. But remember, this guy can keep doing this to other core units each turn, which leads me on to his last ability, which is Atomic Energy Manipulator. So this allows you to use your Mechanical Augmentation ability again in the fight phase, only if this model destroys one model in that fight phase. So now at first this seems great, but to be honest you're barely going to see this ability used, because by the time you're in combat and killing models, you should have already augmented all of your core units, and you can only augment each core unit once per battle. I mean, unless you're playing a crazy large game with tons of core units, then you may see it there, but I never have. So that's the abilities. So there's one issue here that I've instantly spotted. I mean, this is 160 points worth of kit, and there's no invuln save. So that's got my alarm bells ringing slightly. So let's check out his weapons anyway. So he comes with the Eldritch Lance, which is both shooting and melee. So the range part of the weapon is range 36 inches, assault D3, strength 8, -4 AP, and damage is D6. So this is actually a really nice weapon. Strength 8 hurts pretty much anything. It's got the range for it. Then the AP modifier and the damage on top makes it a pretty good threat. And bear in mind this guy's a character, so he benefits from the Lookout Sir rule. So he's not going to be getting picked off so easily, and so he should be getting good use of this throughout the game. The only slight drawback here is the random amount of hits, and the ballistic skill being a 3+ rather than a 2+. so there is the chance of missing completely. The melee side of the lance is also pretty good. It's strength user, making it strength 6, minus 4 AP and 2 damage. Now given that he's got 4 attacks base, this makes it quite reliable, as the weapon skill is also a 3+, so he should be hitting at least a few times on average. It's quite a nice weapon to get through a marine model, but at the same time I'm not going to be charging him up the board to fight. It's more of a defensive weapon to help you at your back line. After you've fought with your 4 attacks using the lance, you get an additional 2 attacks using your impaling legs. So these are strength user, again strength 6, minus 2 AP and single damage. So it's not too bad for freebie attacks, minus 2 is still enough, and like I said, they're strength 6 as well, so they're nice little extras there. So if it was your warlord, you have to use the enduring will warlord trait, which is subtracting 1 from any damage taken to a minimum of 1. Still a solid option for resiliency, especially paired with living metal, so you'll be getting another one back per turn as well. Looking at other parts of the codex then that allayed him, there's a couple of stratagems here. Firstly, resurrection protocols for 1 CP, which can be used on any Necron infantry cryptech model, which allows them to stand up if they've been destroyed, providing that you can roll a 4+ on a single dice. If you do succeed, he gets up on D3 wounds remaining, as long as you're at least 1 inch away from enemy units. The next one is called Deathless Arise, done in your command phase. Allows a model with a Technomancer keyword to use their Rites of Reanimation ability an additional time. Now remember, he's already using it twice per phase, which is already quite insane, but for 1 CP you can use it a 3rd time. Just bear in mind that it has to be done on a completely different unit each time, so you'll need 3 completely different core units to do that. Next is Rarefied Nobility for 1 CP. If you don't have him as your warlord, you can still effectively give him the warlord trait. His warlord trait is locked as Enduring Will, which is still good. So overall, monster stat line, it's a shame he hasn't got the ballistic skill of a 2+ for his ranged lance, as that strength 8 weapon is pretty good. But it's not the end of the world. The real shame is the lack of invuln save. I mean, he's a toughness 6 with 7 wounds, but without the invuln, he could go down pretty fast. Thankfully, he's got the benefits of the Lookout Sir rule, so keep him amongst a couple of core warrior blobs, and you're going to be using your Rites of Reanimation on them anyway. Not only is he getting the warriors back up with 2 different units, but you also have both of these units augmented by turn 2, and if you're lucky you can have them on ballistic skill 2 or toughness 5. I mentioned a little combo in a previous video for Anrak the Traveller, which is where you play a Novak Dynasty code and get Anrak giving your warriors an additional attack with his ability, then giving them his My Will Be Done ability, giving them +1 to hit as well. Then you can use a Novak stratagem on those same warriors to give them another attack, then the disruption fields for +1 strength. Then don't forget the Novak code gives them a -1 AP melee. So if you combine all of that with this current model, and on the augmentation you roll a +1 to their strength, you're now talking about a 20-man warrior unit that can move 6 inches, that can fire on 2s, then in combat will have 3 attacks each, totaling 60 attacks if you've got 20 warriors, hitting on 2s that are strength 6 and -1 AP. And these guys are supposed to be shooty warriors. So if you've not seen that video yet, I'll leave a little click in the top right for you to check it out. And as I mentioned in the intro, this guy isn't going to benefit from the Novak code of course, but your warriors still will. So rating time. So again, I'm struggling with his rating. Reason being is the HQ area of the book is so competitive, as mentioned in the previous videos. So the real issues are, like, the model isn't a noble, so if you want your command protocols you're going to need another HQ with a noble keyword. And even though he's a cryptech, he can't take Arcana or Relics, which is a huge disadvantage compared to say a Royal Warden or a Technomancer, where they can both have the Veil of Darkness. He's also not as damaging as a Locust Lord or a Scorpec Lord, and both of those have invuln saves as well. So even though I really like this unit, I'm struggling to find a place for him in my main lists. Of course, against your friends, when you've got a friendly match going, I'll switch him in and out. But competitively speaking, I want a Command Barge, I want a Royal Warden, then either the Scorpec Lord or one of the non-named cryptechs. He's also pricier than the other HQs in the book, although he does have better stats. But the lack of invuln save is a huge swing to my decision making when building a list. So for that reason, I'm going to be giving Illuminor Szeras a Planet 40k rating of 3.5 out of 5. If you do select him, he will work wonders for you, but he's not even close to being an auto-include in any list, especially if you're playing a regular size game. If you're not, then maybe you're taking loads of HQs and it'll work out fine for you, but I'd struggle to fit him in. So thank you all for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe to not miss out on any future content. Drop a like on the way out, and I'll see you in the next one.